board should not make rules for us, all right? They have legal opinions that probably they don't really read because they go back quite a few several years. And I won't quote the actual legal opinion, but I do have their legal opinion. The members should make the rules and the board adopt them. That's how this association should work. The vision for the Harbor Club, I believe the next board should hire outside counsel to investigate the legality of the membership having to pay for a new construction building without a vote. If the outside counsel finds that we need to have a vote, then the remedy of law should apply to all that facilitated the Harbor Club. My vision for the POA is that all information should be disclosed to the property owners, including lawsuit information updates in a timely manner. All board candidates here tonight should know also that you don't have to sign a confidentiality agreement. And I would never sign one. In conclusion, I see a large dues increase coming for all of us because of poor standards of conduct of the board members over the last 3 years with the Harbor Club and other matters. I could not put my name to a single vote, anything related to such a misjustice to the membership. The current lawsuit should have been settled months ago. Was clear violation of the statutes that the meeting to change the bylaws was illegal. The current POA board legal counsel should go. The management company, probably we need to look that over too. And the POA offices need to stay in their current location.
30 seconds, Rich.
Good enough. The community voted for change in the last 2 elections. The board should put more weight behind people who agree with that change. I thank you for the opportunity to be heard, and we need to put the fair back in Fairfield. Thank you.
I beat the clock.
Not quite, but I'll get to that.
That was very good.
Thank
If any
you.
of these folks have stirred up a question you'd like to ask, go grab a card real quick and fill it out real quick and get it to the back real quick. I've got one speaker left. He's grinning. He's gonna have a good time. Mr. Bill Eichelberg.
Thank you, Lee. I'm going to break with the tradition and stay here on the floor.
Excuse me. If I could just have everybody just turn off their Wi-Fi or disconnect from the Wi-Fi that this building's providing, because it's messing up my live stream for everybody else. So just turn off the Wi-Fi on your phone, that'd be great.
Will airplane mode do it?
Airplane mode or just check your Wi-Fi.
Thank you, and I apologize for the interruption,
Thank you,
sir.
guys.
You're on.
Well, now hopefully this doesn't cut into my time.
No. Will now.
I will now, okay. Well, thank you very much, Lee, and thank you for being here tonight and for giving me the opportunity to speak with you. My name is Bill Eichelberg. My wife Roberta and I live at 6201 Ibis over in Birdland. This coming November 4th, it will be 2 years that we have been here. A little bit about myself and my wife. We moved here from the state of Wisconsin. We decided to give up 30 and 40 degree below zero weather for 105 degree weather with the heat index. That remains a work in progress as far as adapting to it. My background, I grew up on a farm in southeastern Wisconsin. Growing up as a farm kid didn't seem like the most fun or the best thing as it was happening, but when I look back at it now, it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. I learned a lot, developed a lot of great attitudes and responsibilities that have stayed with me throughout my life. I had 2 great parents that instilled in me a strong work ethic, accepting responsibility for what I'm going to do and making sure that when you take on a job, you see it all the way through. My working career has taken 2 paths. Oh, what I should have mentioned also, where we lived in Wisconsin. We talked about that, but I was going to mention that we lived about 17 miles, 18 miles south of the city of Green Bay. Now, I'm sure most of you have heard of Green Bay. It is, after all, the toilet paper capital of the world. If you buy toilet paper, the odds are it was manufactured in Green Bay. Also, we have a football team there. You might have heard of them. My work program has taken two paths. First, I worked 25 years in the agricultural industry, and the last 20 or so years, I worked in the hospitality industry. I did work for two very large agricultural trade associations. I was marketing and sales manager for both. So I have extensive experience in organizing budgets, working with and managing committees, and taking on large projects. My first role when I was with the Wisconsin Farm Bureau Federation, I organized a direct sales program through the state for our members, working with other states' farm bureaus. Proud to say that we developed the largest such program in the country for 5 years running. When I left there after 10 years, our annual sales were $1.3 million, which would be roughly $3.5 million in today's dollars. And that was starting from nothing. Then for 10 years, another 10-year period of time, I worked for the Wisconsin Potato and Vegetable Growers Association. I was their marketing manager, covered the eastern half of the United States. I started that program as well. So if you ever want to know anything about potatoes, I can tell you anything and everything you might want to ever know. Again, starting from scratch, we built up a program that was quite effective nationwide. When I first came in on the committee, Wisconsin was the number 5 producer and seller of potatoes in the country. When I left after 10 years, we had grown to number 3. The first two being Idaho and Washington, and we had no chance of ever catching either one of those with our volume, but we did jump a couple of points up, and I've always been quite proud of that fact. Again, extensive work with budgeting, with program planning, with working with marketing committees, with volunteers, directing programs, things that I have the practical knowledge that I feel would work well in this position. Philosophically, I guess I would say I am a fiscal conservative and a social moderate. I tend to lean a little bit more on the libertarian side, but I have a strong sense of community and the need to be an active part of it. Coming here and seeing the opportunities for growth, that there's obviously a need to try to bring the community together, I thought I would apply my knowledge, my experience, and my determination to see what we can do together.
I used 30 seconds, I apologize.
Well,
I'll give you 30 starting
Okay.
now.
Okay, thank you very much. One of the things my parents instilled in me early on is that when you come upon a situation, a problem, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here tonight. I feel we can make great strides. I think we have a good, solid group of people in this community. We need to put aside the problems we had in the past. We need to learn to work together, find common ground, and work for the betterment of the community. That is my pledge. That is my goal. And again, thank you for the opportunity to talk with you tonight.
I'd like you all to stand up and let's clap for them one more time.
Take our bows. That's it.
You all do realize that a standing ovation immediately precedes getting a check for dinner. This will be a little different format. I have some questions from the community for the candidates. And as soon as I find my list, I'll roll through it. There we go. And the way we're going to do this is I will pick a person from our speakers rotation, which means Neil, you're up first again. And I'll ask the question, and then anybody else in the group that wants to can raise your hand as they finish their minute. This might get a little musical chairsy. We'll do the best we can with it. But I'll ask the question. I'll give you a minute. Be quick, be straight to the point, because that's what people want to hear. Okay? First question. Specifically, what would you do to help unify our community? Neil, your turn.
Thank you for that question. Yes, for me, unifying the committee the community is a high priority. There are many things that we can do. I would start with organizing regular functions, especially in our new clubhouse, where we have themed evenings. Say 1 month will be a French evening, next month a Mexican evening, where people dress up and they have a great time together with the appropriate drinks. If it's Mexican, it's got to be tequila and dancing. And in that way, bring the community together with a regular activity that they can expect every month, where we can dance up, be fancy, and do things together in the community. Then there are other things such as enhancing the way we participate in parades, the way we participate in joint activities and celebrations, especially with the Marines' 250th birthday coming up. I would like to see something special happen in that particular case. I would like to see committees come together to plan events that the people can do together.
15 if you're not done. Are you done?
So I'm done, thank you.
Good. Anybody else want to add to that? Oh, good. Let's start with Don.
I think one of the themes that sort of interlaces a lot of things we're talking about here is getting a pulse of the sense of our community. I think that it would be a very good idea to canvass the community and find out exactly what it is they would like to invest their time and money in. If some will participate, or if most will participate, then that's something that I think that corporately we really could be a part of, and we should probably endorse and support. And I fully agree with full utilization of the Harbor Club, yet to be determined. But yes, I would start with a needs survey, I think, and go out generally to the community.
Rich, do you want to add to that?
Definitely, I think really to bring the community together, first of all, I think we really need to end the lawsuit. That's the first thing. And that gets us going in the right direction, okay? I agree that basically, yes, we need to put a feeler out there, everybody, to make sure that, well, what do you want? That's what we need to ask. What do you want? It's not what I want. It shouldn't be what any of these people up here want. It's what you want. You pay the bills. What do you want? Once we find out what the community wants, then we move to start doing things like that. I agree that basically we can probably hold, functions with music and everything else, to basically, try to bring people together. The one thing that I think if you lived here long enough, you should know that sometimes it's very hard to get people out of their houses and get them active in things that go on with the harbor, inside the harbor. So we basically really need to work on that.
Pass the mic to Bill, please.
There you go.
I agree with what both speakers have said. Like I say, we're going to have disagreements, but we can be agreeable. I was a lawyer for 50 years. I hate lawsuits. My job, my entire time, was to keep my clients out of lawsuits. They're expensive. People don't get what they want and always create bad feelings. The board needs to, first of all, I would like to see the board meetings be at 7:00 in the evenings so that more and more people can come and so that more and more people will have the opportunity to be directors.
15, Bill.
The board is going to always have some different priorities from homeowners. Homeowners are looking at present values and a little bit in the future. Directors have to keep an eye out 10, 20, 30 years ahead. But decisions should be made in public meetings, not in private meetings. Some decisions have to be private,
I'll have
human
to call time
resources.
on you, Bill.
All right, human
Who else
resources
wants
and
to continue?
litigation.
Go ahead.
Okay, along these lines, one of the things that I've noticed, a lot of the people here have conflict fatigue. There's been a lot of acrimony going back and forth, and we need to find, as a community, a way to stop and put this aside. We're adults. We're not 9 years old. We need to find common ground. We need to be able to talk, listen, and come to a conclusion. We're going to have to realize that we don't always get what we want. I think there was a song on that. But we do have to work together if this community is going to stay a community and if we are going to grow in the right direction. So I would ask everybody here, think, what can you do?
15.
What are you willing to do to help bring it together, bring your ideas, let's sit down, let's talk, let's start getting organized. Thank you.
Call it a minute, please. Anybody else on that question? This one is very much like the last one. So I'm going to challenge you to not say something you've already said. How's that? And the question is, how do you propose to, quote, calm the waters, unquote, so to speak, in the harbor in the future? And my number 2 first guy is Don Butterworth. You're up.
All right, well, without repeating anything that's already been said, all of which I agree with, I will revert to my earlier statement that I think that we have to start with the presupposition that we are people of goodwill and that we are not conflictful people and we are rational and that we are social. And that means we've got a good basis to stand on. We have a foundation to build from. There is a propensity for people to stay behind their walls and not be very convivial. And I think that's an artifact of modern life. That's what's happening to us. Now, how do you break that barrier down? Breaking the barriers down
15.
would be to discover what it is we have in common. Someone's already said that, and that's a very good point to remember. That it can be through events, through work projects. I think there's a lot of volunteerism that we need to tap into, and people have to be willing to actually participate and become an active, vital part of the community in very functional ways, because I think that's the only way we're going to find our community and find our way back.
I'll call time on you right there. Who else wants to add to that? Go ahead, Bill.
I believe that one of the biggest ways to get the acrimony out of our community is disclosure and open decision-making. Like I say, meetings in the afternoon, in the evenings when people can participate, and the directors need to actually articulate their positions, vote yay or nay I'm always a nay person when I need to be, but I try to articulate why I'm a nay person. Decisions ought not to be made privately and just be disclosed to the community.
15.
I think I don't need to take that 15
Okay.
seconds.
Who else? Neil?
Yes, I would just like to add that what you need to do is improve the communication in the harbor. There are various ways to do it. I have a 15-point communication plan to enhance the communication, so people are more in the picture and it's clearer. We also need to make sure that the people that are being uncivil on social media should receive perhaps a letter saying that you're being uncivil in the community, the same way that you'd get fined or cautioned for an activity like having a wrong flag in your garden. Have a caution like that. So balance, have good communication and have perhaps caution people to moderate what they're doing on social media perhaps, because I've seen a lot of ugliness on social media and I think it's unnecessary. And what I'd like to do is also enhance civil interaction through various activities, such as inviting people to listen to guest speakers speaking on things that are of interest to the community. You need to bring people together to get unity.
I'm going to go back to some very simple ways to do things. One, when you see your neighbor, say hello. Not hard, easy. Invite them for dinner or a cup of coffee. People that are new in the neighborhood are not used to being people in the harbor, so honest, and really want them to know that we care about them. And I think that's a real grassroots, easy way to start conversations. Lists of things are fine, but we have to start someplace almost person to person. And that's a lot of times the best way that things get conveyed.
And you're up next on this one, so don't turn your mic off.
Hang on, yeah, I'm gonna get a little bit.
I apologize.
I'm beginning to get the feeling you don't like me.
It's just hard to see that red shirt.
What I did forget to tell people here is that for 34 years, my hobby, I was a high school sports official. So I feel very, very confident in conflict resolution. Now, the only problem was that I always won. So, but again, you can't emphasize enough, we need to have, not harmonious, but we need to have adult conversations. We need to find ways to sit down as a group or in groups, come to some conclusions, come to some realizations, come to some methodologies that we can put into place that will help to open up the harbor. I think there's been a lot of great ideas shared here as far as being able to reach out and do more things socially, which is a great way to start. And then let it build from there. And I will let it end at that.
Richie's gonna whack me with that mic if I don't recognize it.
That's it. I think a good way really to bring people together, and we do this on our street, okay? I live on Castleton Court. And as a street, we have an annual get-together of everybody on the street, okay? We have coming up a Halloween party that we're having. We have one of the residents on our street has chairs, quite a few chairs, set up underneath one of his trees. And we call that the Yum Yum tree. And, you know, people gather there. Now it's dark at night, but, you know, during the summer months, people gather and talk. And, you know, I think if we kind of support to kind of bring that together for more people in the harbor, that every street should have a block party. Every street, you know, should have something, and that's how you get along and, you know, get people together.
Thank you.
You got it.
And you're up next. Next question. What are your views on incorporating community input into major board of directors decisions?
Can you read that question again, please?
What are your views on incorporating community input into major board of directors' decisions?
Well, I'm sure that's a very easy answer. I just don't have an easy answer because I think that there is a broad space between the board of directors and the communication that goes to the general public. For several years now, it has been unclear when the meetings are going to be. They may be now, they may be next week. And I think to incorporate people from the general population to board meetings has been a difficult problem for years. In the old building, it was a very small board room, which did not allow too many people to be able to attend board meetings. And from there, it kind of went downhill instead of ensuring that there is a place that we do now have so that more people can attend.
15.
Well, I'll have to say that I wish the board would consider really thinking about how many executive sessions they need to go into.
Who else wants to contribute to that?
I will.
Yes, so I think there's a number of things that we can do. We can use surveys. There's a survey system that you can use. You can use your mobile. I think the meeting with the board members on a Saturday morning is a good step in the right direction. What we can do is have meetings on the mornings over a cup of coffee, over specific issues that are planned or being thought of to get community input. I think we should have a survey to find out how people would like to be contacted to receive information, whether it is through the email, whether it's through a carrier pigeon, or whether it's through face-to-face messages or meetings, or whether it's through a letter. We need to find out how people would like to be contacted because different people get their information in different ways, and it's important for the board to know that so that they can share information and then seek inputs from the community.
15, or if you're done. Bill will give me a whipping if he doesn't get to talk, right? You're up.
All good ideas. Again, highlighting the fact that what we need to do is reach out. It can't be that simple. Just common courtesy, bringing people together, whether it is an event such like as this, or as Rich said, going into within the local communities, within your street, within your circle of friends. Just talk. What would be your thoughts, your feelings, your recommendations on what we can do, how we should proceed, and be the most inclusive that we can.
Who else? Bill?
Yeah, Bill and then, yeah, I think we'll all get a chance on it.
Okay. I think,
Y'all flip a coin down there.
no, well, anyway, let me just.
Go ahead.
Would you restate the question?
What are your views on incorporating community input in the major board of directors' decisions?
Okay, this is one that I didn't quite get to, but I really had wanted to earlier. First of all, I see it that we are a community, we're not a business. This is not a business. Costs really are out of control. And the reason that they're out of control is we have lost sight of the fact that we are a community in essence. We can build on that foundation. I think direct access to the board is important. I don't think the board ought to sequester itself away from community sentiment and input. I think it often does that, and I think that's an error. So what I would suggest that we do is open the meetings, keep them as open, the communication open as much as possible, and to feed information to the folks that's actionable, that requires their input, and I believe and the majority of certainly major decisions like capital expenditure projects, they need to have direct input and a referendum.
I'll call that 15. Rich?
Good. Okay. Yeah, I think that basically, coffee with the board, which, you know, they used to do here, is a good idea. Going back several years, okay, we had usually 2 board members would go down to Red Sail Park. And they says, well, you know, around 6:30 or 7 o'clock, you know, when of course the weather was nice and lighter outside, you could have a one-on-one chat with those 2 board members. And you'd be surprised how much more information that you got. And, you know, it's a one-on-one thing. And a lot of people didn't show up, but I mean, if you know, did show up and talk to the board members on a one-to-one, you got a lot more information out of kind of what's going on. And I think that needs to be brought back, you know, so same thing. It's basically open communication. Everybody needs to know what's going on, and the community will run a lot better.
15. Done? Bill?
Back many years ago, there was a Fairfield Harbor email site that I reckoned and referred to as a store with a pot-bellied stove, where people could talk and discuss issues. And a lot of information could come from the board and back to the board. Now, that fell apart as part of our society, became much more rude and crude. Now, whether we could go back to that, where people fairly and calmly express their opinions, pro and con on issues, where directors could say, we're thinking about doing A, B, or C, what are your thoughts? And hear back from those who wish to respond. I think that would be a wonderful thing if we could accomplish it.
You're up next, don't turn your mic off. Next question, are you willing to enact a policy that any expenditure over a set dollar amount, such as $50,000, be subject to a community vote? Bill, Martin?
No, I don't think you can do that. I think large expenditures need to be explained clearly to people. But I don't think directors have the responsibility to make decisions on fiscal, budgetary issues. I know the biggest thing that we have now is the $7 million club that's being constructed. That was sort of foisted on the people, I think, in my opinion, without sufficient input. But you can't have a vote every time the board has to make an expenditure. The board can ask questions about the expenditure, and they can listen to what the community has to say about it. But I think those decisions have to be done by the board.
Who else wants to contribute to
that? I kind of disagree. I think that, well, 50,000 may be too low, okay, on the thing. And like I said it in my talk, that basically we had the right to vote on the budget, and we should have that back, okay? Now, some people are going to say, well, look, the budget comes out first and the annual meeting is in June now. You have to realize that the annual meeting was actually in April was supposed to be for here. I have all the bylaws, and that basically was April. So it would work where you propose the budget, you vote on it, and then May, you would say, you'd get the bill sent out at the end of April for May. But, there should be a number, that we vote. And especially on these super large projects, it's very interesting that everybody when we purchased the golf course and stuff, we had to have a vote, and that was half the price of the Harbor Club. So that's where we're at. There you go.
Well, I would add to that in my understanding, there was, the community was asked what they wanted to see in this project, realized none of what they had actually submitted input for. The building was overbuilt and due to be underutilized because people did not get exactly what they wanted. So here, you run the risk of having a facility that's unwanted, unsustainable, overpriced, and very unpopular. Now, how you fix that now, retrospectively, I do not know. But I do know that going forward, what you really ought to do is make sure that that the input is collected, it's vetted, and the people actually have a voice in capital expenditure projects. I don't have a number, but I think that there's the need for that direct input. I'm a very strong proponent of that.
Who else? Neil?
Yes, I agree with the last two speakers. It's difficult to pin down an amount. But what I think must happen is that a process is established by the board of consultation, so that you take the community on a journey through the various steps in a project, whether it's just a feasibility study or whether it is selecting a contractor. There has to be a process where the community is involved in the various steps. And that we need to lay down and make it known to the community. This is how you give your input, this is how you participate, and this is how things are going to get done in terms of capital expenditure, major projects, or growth projects that you want to initiate. I think it may be difficult in terms of unnecessary onerous for things such as maintenance or repairs, but certainly with regards to capital expenditure and capital projects.
Good. Anybody else? Bill?
I would agree with the fact or the opinion that capital projects obviously need to be brought before the community as a whole to be discussed and voted on. Part of the process here and part of what the responsibility of the board is that they take ownership and responsibility for the small, medium, and somewhat large projects. So while it is a board responsibility, I think there also should be a comment period that is allowed for these projects as they come up. Give the community an opportunity to get together to ask questions, to make some recommendations, but ultimately the responsibility for the majority of what we're going to be doing would be the responsibility of the board. That's why they are elected, and they should be allowed to succeed or fail based on what they come to a conclusion on.
15, are you done?
Done.
Did I miss anybody? Ann, you're up.
I have a big problem with this because I have been watching very carefully in the last 3 years about what has happened with the Harbor Club. And in my opinion, we have been basically shut out of any decision that was having to do with the Harbor Club. And I don't understand how that occurred. There are 7 people, 7 directors on boards. I find it hard to believe that they all thought that everything that happened in that time period was exactly what all 7 of them wanted. They heard that the community was not happy with what was going on what was being built, what did the rooms look like. We didn't need a step-by-step who was gonna come in and put the floor down and do, whatever they do in general construction, but we wanted to know that our community building was going to turn into a bigger, better community building.
15.
And what I see is not that.
Good. Okay, next item. Rich, this one's to you first.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna guess what you're gonna say. Should changes to Fairfield Harbor bylaws be voted on by all our members?
Okay, an issue close to my heart. Yes, in the quickest way to answer that. I believe a lot of the communities basically have that right, and we don't, okay? Now, whether in the past, as we kind of went from Treasure Cove to Fairfield Incorporated and stuff, as this development kind of got bought and sold, and interests from the developers, had interests in the bylaws to keep control, because, well, they were spending their money and they want to have control. But the bylaws should be turned over to the property owners. We should be able to vote on them. Like I said, before, that, as a community, we should vote on what rules we want to live under.
Who else?
I think that it's high time that we looked at our bylaws and that we could actually look towards a review and very possibly a revision of the bylaws, and that needs to be a fair, a full, fair, and open process. And I think we should, as a membership, vote on those. I think the DORs need some looking at too. Certainly, when you look at the North Carolina general statutes, especially 47B, articles of incorporation, all of this is well overdue for review. With regard to the Planned Communities Act, we haven't done it. We need to do it. I think our health and welfare is all really tied up in it. I have noticed parenthetically that there are a number of infractions that we might find under a revised bylaw that actually does speak to the health, safety, and welfare of the people in this community.
15.
Things that we generally ignore, and they need to come up for scrutiny.
Who else? Neil?
Yes, I think, in all communities and in all businesses, I know you said it's not a business, it's a community, but whenever you have processes in action, you need to have a continuous improvement and you need reviews built into that. So the first step would be to determine what is the regular period of review. So whether it's 3 years, 5 years, or whatever, they've got to agree on a regular period of review. Then you've also got to take into account the fact, and it's tricky in the harbor, correct me if I'm wrong, there's like 11 mini communities within our community, and they each have their own bylaws. And so the question is actually a misnomer, because it can't be decided on by all members because of these many communities within our community. So you've got to do it strategically, and you've got to do it in a planned manner, and let people know when it's coming up so they are prepared, and do it on a frequent basis that you predetermine.
15. Done? Who else? Bill?
My thought on this is, if we're going to continue with bylaw changes, and that's part and parcel of what happens on a regular basis, there needs to be input at the very least. I think there needs to be a comment period that's available for people so that everybody has a chance to come in and express their view, their opinion, perhaps suggestions for changes to it. and that after the comment period, then a vote should be taken. I realize it's not going to be a quick turnaround, but something as important as the bylaws shouldn't be done in a quick manner. It should be looked at, addressed, discussed, reviewed, and then decided upon by the entire community.
15. Done? Bill?
I've certainly seen the number of bylaws, drafted bylaws, seen what's worked, seen what's not worked, and believe that our bylaws could be updated, could be made much better, and I certainly would throw myself into that project fully.
Who else? Did I miss anybody? Was I wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, next up, Bill Eichelberg. Are you willing to dedicate designated time in the POA office? I take it this means individual time for community walk-in questions, problems, or concerns.
Sure.
15.
I think that would probably be a very good start. That makes sense. It's a spot where everybody obviously knows where it's at. You can have a specific office set up where they can come in, sit down, we can talk. You have an opportunity to unload if you so wish. Make suggestions, recommendations. I think it's a great idea. I would wholeheartedly support it.
Who else? Neil?
Yes, so this ties in what I said about the meetings with the board of directors over coffee. I think there should be different time slots. There's 7 board members. They don't all have to be there. But if you have predetermined times at different times where people that are working or people that have shifts or people that are only available on weekends have different times available and at different periods. And then I have a board member on duty at that particular time to address any particular questions or inquiries or even suggestions. I mean, we should welcome ideas of how we can do things better in the community, and those are the times to do it. My preference is to establish a coffee shop at the new clubhouse, and there sit down for coffee and talk.
Ann?
I think the coffee idea is great. I'm not sure about the location. However, these meetings, one-on-one or with a group of people with one director, have been extremely helpful in the past. And once you do one, you want to do more. It becomes second nature, and we can all do it. Take turns. People go on vacation. It doesn't have to be too strictly monitored. If there are 10 people one week who want to talk, there may be 2 people the next week that want to talk. But I think that everyone should help to answer all questions. And more importantly, if they do not know the correct answer, say, I don't know the answer, but I will get it for you. It sometimes happens that certain people make up the wrong answer, and that's a bad thing.
Who else? Rich?
All right, yes. In the 30 years that I've lived here, okay, and as a builder in here, all right, back in the 90s, all right, the majority of the people moving into the harbor were retirees, okay? Over the years now, you'll see the change that we have in Fairfield Harbor as the residents get younger and some of the retirees get younger. So definitely you need to have time periods as like we suggested here, night meetings, maybe coffee in the morning for some it may be at lunchtime because we're getting more working people that are going in and out of the harbor, and everybody knows that because the traffic is terrible.
Oh, come on.
Well, it is.
I agree with everything that was said. I certainly would enjoy participating in such meetings. I do disagree, however, with coffee. I don't drink coffee.
How about
If we can have some other beverages available, that would be great.
Did I miss anybody?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
We got everybody. What a concept. Okay, I got that one. Okay. I'm just gonna start right here and just go down the road this time, just to mix it up a little bit. The question is, how much time can you provide to this position?
That's an easy question. Maybe Jennifer could answer. When I was president, When I was president, I was in the POA office at least probably easily 3 to 4 times a week. The POA office and the board needs to be in communication all the time. It solves problems before problems start. I'm happy to do it with the residents and talk with the residents about anything that they want to. I've done it in the past, I can do it again. I know that our lives are busy, but this is a really important adventure that we're going to start. And maybe you people don't want to do as many hours as other people do, and that's fine with me. But I think we need to be in the POA office and see what they have to say about what the people say. There's just not a continuity of communication. It's
15.
all over the place.
Okay, from my point of view, it's whatever time is necessary to get the job done, even if we have to have special meetings. I will, however, be strict about the agenda. You can't have an agenda of about 200 items on it and expect to be successful or to make good use of your time. So the agenda will need to be well managed and prioritized. Maybe you even have special meetings just to prioritize the agenda, but I think that time spent is well worthwhile.
Well, my thought on it is that we need to have we need to have a structured program put into place where we do have specific meeting dates, times that are set aside, but then also that we do have allocated days and times where we can and should be meeting with the general public, also our committee work. As far as being able to put a specific amount of time to it would be kind of impractical at this point in time based on what the needs are of the community. Obviously, at certain times or with certain things coming up, you'll be spending more time than perhaps at other time periods during the course of the year.
Good. Bill?
I certainly have no limitations on the time that I could spend on that and would enjoy spending on that. My wife and I do have an RV, and we do like to travel. So there'll probably be some periods of time when we're not available, but that's not because we don't want to participate, and perhaps we can participate by Zoom or some other fashion like that. But retirement has its downsides, but one upside is you got all the time in the world to do whatever you want to do.
Rich?
Yeah, 90% of my work has been inside the harbor. So I'm here most of the day, every day, and of course at night also. So my time is, available as needed, because as being your own boss, you got the luxury of kind of making your own schedule. And I think, that there'll be times that you need more time to put in because of the work that, is gonna need to be done. And then there's times that you're not gonna need as much. And I think if we restructure some of the stuff, hopefully to make it easier, we need less time really to have, with a lot of meetings and work.
I'm going to go back to what Ann said, because I agree with that. The best problems are those that you head off before they become problems. That means that you listen, and you have to set up structures and procedures by which people can effectively participate, know that they're being listened to, and you gather some really valid input. We used to have these things called sensing sessions. You may remember that kind of thing. The whole idea was to sit down and elicit input from all interested parties. I like the coffee idea. Doesn't have to be coffee, it could be some other libation. But the idea, get people freely to talk, and then you bring that back. That's your eyes and ears, that's your antenna. And you can structure this. I personally I think it's flexible. I think there's some flexibility in there. We've got to have coverage. Board members should be freely available and be willing to invest time into the position. Yeah.
Good, thank you. All right, I missed giving Bill Eichelberg an opportunity to be the first responder. These last two questions go, this one and the next one, which I will ask, go more to your thought process than what's right and what's wrong, or what do you think about this particular issue. So it's kind of a, how would you kind of a question. This one's from a resident. How would you determine the potential impact on security and increased traffic relative to the Harbor Club and the offices being moved to the Harbor Club? That's the context of this. How would you determine the potential impact on security and increased traffic, especially non-residents?
Me?
You up?
I'm up?
No, the other. I'm sorry, yes, I'm sorry. Red shirt. Stand up.
Good question. My wife and I have discussed this on many occasions. Given the location that we're looking at now with the offices moving to the Harbor Club, we have concerns. What is this going to do to security? How is traffic going to be properly processed through, not only for daily events, but also more importantly for special events? If you're going to have 100, 150, 200 people coming in, with half of them being from the outside, what's that going to do to the highway? You're going to have people backed up needing to go through the gate. Not to mention what's going to happen going down Cara and Pelican. We don't have streetlights. And I realize that's a touchy subject around here because a lot of people don't want to have lights, but you're going to have people that don't know where they're going. Well, we've got a lot of people that don't know where they're going. But you're going to have people that aren't going to be able to find their way.
15.
Driving here, there, and everywhere else. So, yeah, there are concerns. There needs to be something put together to address this before we really get started.
The question again is about your thought process. And the question is, how would you determine the potential impact on security and increased traffic, especially non-residents? Don had his hand up.
First of all, you're going to have to start with a feasible plan. You can't reverse engineer this thing. You've got this Harbor Club where it is in a place where it really doesn't make any sense. The Fhpoa offices need to be where they are. I think you need to undo this thought process, whatever it was. The only thing that really makes any sense is for utilization of the Harbor Club is to work out sidewalks, streets, impact on the infrastructure, on the streets themselves. How are you going to maintain security, lighting? All of this has not been even begun to be thought through. I mean, this really is a bit of a miscarriage, and the sooner we apprehend it, the better. My thought process would be that we engage a civil engineer to actually get involved here, help us actually discover what it is exactly we need to do. There are a lot of
I'm
engineering
gonna call
problems,
15.
and there's much more to be said.
Who else, Bill?
I very much worry about the security situation. I do believe the POA offices need to remain where they are, even if they have to be expanded, because there are so many
Excuse me.
public.
I'd like you to hold your applause till the end. Okay? Thank you. Go ahead.
There are so many public people who are dropping by, real estate agents, other sorts of people who don't need to be having to drive through the community, and we can't control them. I want to add that I believe that the temporary entrance that has been created is invalid, because I do believe the restrictive covenants require that those lots be for residential structures only. If we want a new opening down there, we're gonna have to change the covenants with respect to those two lots. But keep everything out. I presume we're not gonna have the Harbor Club opened up for outside activities by groups that want to hire it. I've always thought it was for us and for our organizations. Frankly, I would love to see more things like billiard rooms, ping pong rooms, card rooms, things where we can participate, and not just a big ballroom that may get used
I'm gonna
5,
ask you
6
to pass
times
the
a
mic,
year.
Bill.
Okay, I guess I'm next. Basically, I think we need to go back and look at the DORs, okay? It says that basically our amenities are supposed to remain private, okay? How do you operate a public facility when everything's supposed to be private? You're using our POA dues for what? A public venture? No, I don't think so. So, that would need to be looked at. Also, when I first got here, there was no gates. And I hope everybody realizes that, okay? Some board members installed them. And you may want to go ahead and look at the legality of the health, safety, and welfare when you use the money to do that. Because health, safety, and welfare by the courts have ruled that basically, if you use money for health, safety, and welfare, it's a non-defined term, and basically you can't use money for that.
15. Son, who else? Anybody else?
That's the truth. It's true. Sorry, the truth hurts.
All right, this is our last question. We're gonna finish on time. Thank you all. And this again goes to your thought process, and I'll start with Don, down at that end, and come this way. And I admit right up front, there's no right or wrong to this question. And there's also no opportunity to complain about history in this question. Show us your thought process on how you would work through and resolve this following situation. It's one I realistically, personally expect we could see this year. As we progress into budget process this year, we will likely have requests for much more capital spending than we have funds for. This mismatch could be pretty big. We don't have an opportunity to borrow our way out of this. So tell us what your thought process is, how you would analyze this situation, work toward a solution. Show us your thoughts, your analysis, your actions, as part of a board with 6 other members toward resolving that situation. I'm going to give you each a minute and a half on that one.
Well, since you've defined this in terms of budget strictures, and you've got a limited amount of revenue and income, and you have demands that exceed availability of funds, there's going to have to be some stringent resource allocation. You can't do without it. You can't get blood from a stone. Now, you've fenced off all of the prior decisions, I understand, but that's what really landed us here in the first place. So to work our way out of this is going to, may need to renegotiate this loan on some other basis. The last thing you want to do, in my estimation, you do not want to levy more taxation, more assessment on the members who didn't ask for this in the first place. You have to consider some other things here, that people have the ability to move. This community becomes less attractive to the extent that it's unsustainable. There are many people here with fixed incomes. There are many working families who actually don't have money at the margin. We've got to keep all of that in mind, because unless we do, we're going to sacrifice the heart of this community, and I don't think we can afford to do that. The board members have an awesome responsibility.
15.
Okay. Yes, we would probably have to go to a bare bones budget, okay? And I mean bare bones in here, all right? I haven't seen hardly any paving done and everything else, you know. It seems that the money is going somewhere, you know. I don't know where the money's going, okay? Is the money going to the restaurant? Is it going to the, you know, to the golf course? I mean, as a community, we may have to look at all those things and see, you know, what has to be done. And it may be some super hard decisions really on that issue. You can only get so much out of the community because a lot of people are on fixed incomes. And yes, I agree that basically you're going to see a lot of people want to up and move. And when you get a lot of houses on the market, well, your home values are going to go down because all of a sudden, well, they got a lot to pick from. And even though you might think your house is worth $400,000, you may only get $325 because basically the competition is out there. And oh, that's right, you still have the debt, okay? And even though they keep telling you that the debt is, you know, is not really, you know, on each individual house, but to be honest with you, it's tied to your dues and you know, what we really need as a community to really think super hard about, you know, going really bare bones to get this settled, because if not, we're going to have a big problem. From what I can see, is basically, you know, I mean, probably a $300 plus probably increase, and that's going to hurt.
Sure.
I'm willing to listen to anybody, but somebody's gonna have to make an awfully strong argument to me to advance new capital expenditures at this time. I think we overspent, we're over obligated, the dues are going up. When dues go up, property values go down. We are not Carolina Colors. We are not Taberna. We never will be, because we're 30, 40 years older. And we just have to tighten our belts for us and not have pie in the sky projects.
Bill, red shirt, Bill.
I agree with a lot of what has been said so far. I would go so far as to say I think we need to put a moratorium on any capital projects for at least the next 3 to 5 years. There's no way we can even seriously look at taking on any additional projects You look at the burden we are at right now, we have, what is it, it's over $700,000 a year committed to the building. That could have gone a lot of different ways, but water under the bridge, as they would say. Priorities here need to be in infrastructure. As was mentioned, we've got street problems, we've got street issues, we've got water issues. We're going to have more water issues. Knock on wood, we got lucky this year. So far, no hurricane. We need to make sure that we have emergency funds and we have contingency funds appropriate to take care of things that are going to happen. Those have to be sacred. We can't be robbing those accounts to help try to offset other expenditures. I think we need, definitely, the board will need to take a step back and seriously evaluate where we're at. We need to prioritize. And I want to take a commercial message here for right now. And I want to thank Lee for what you've been doing so far in evaluating what's been going on with the budgets. You've been a godsend.
I gotta
to the
cut you
board.
off, you're at 15.
And with that said, who cares, Lee?
Modesty makes me say, sit down and be quiet.
But no, there's a process to doing it. We have to follow it.
Neil?
Okay, number one, prioritize the current expenditure. In other words, manage it through the budget. Number two, establish a revenue generation committee. I think this is critical because, as you correctly say, you cannot generate all the funding through the current members. We need to get some external funding to help out. Number three, hold fundraising events, starting with golf. Walt is not here, but that would be a good start. And there are other good fundraising events that we could have, for instance, like the market that we have, the farmers market. There are many other ways to generate revenue, but we should get some specialists. We've got very talented people within the harbor that can put together a plan for that. And then fourthly, resolve the timeshare shortfall. I think there is a way to work with that and to recoup as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, that'll be so.
Ann?
I'd like to hear from the finance committee that has been formed within the last month. Before we make any more decisions, we need more information, solid numbers. Everybody needs to know exactly what's going on because the numbers that have been thrown around in this community have no basis in fact.
Since I got dragged into this, you will hear more from the finance committee.
Good. I think that's a really good thing to do. And then people will understand how difficult the situation we are in. Otherwise, it won't get done. We need to step it up.
I'll take that as real good advice from all of you, all of it. Thank you. Thank you. I want to recognize the folks who came here tonight to show themselves as volunteers to serve on your board. I'm going to ask them to stand up again, and I'm going to ask you to stand up again and give them a tremendous round of applause, please. Now you all sit down for a minute.
Jeez, up and down, up and down, up and down.
This will take 1 minute.
Sure.
I want to thank Mike McHale. I want to thank Louise Paterno. I want to thank Doreen Willock. I want to thank Jim Dolan. I want to thank Roberta Eichelberg. I want to thank John Loyal. I hope I said that right. I want to thank Greg Winfrey. I want to thank Mark Hittner. And I want to thank Anonymous. And I want to thank Anonymous again. Thank you all for your questions tonight. They were meaningful. I think we all learned a lot. I want to thank you for coming tonight and showing what good citizens you are.
Thank tech teams.
Say again?
Don't forget to thank your tech teams.
Yes. I'm getting to that. You've been reading my notes again, haven't you? I do need to thank the tech team. Thank you very much. I want to thank Vanna 1 and Vanna 2 back there who did our handouts and our pickups. I think, yeah, we have just the three of us here tonight as board members. I wish we had all of us, but it didn't work out that way, and I apologize. And again, thank you for coming, and give yourselves a round of applause as you leave.
Yeah. Thank you.